Hello, hello. I can see people are joining. Hi, good evening, good evening. We have 4 minutes until we start, but while we're waiting, I want to make this as useful to you as possible. So, could you in the chat just type in what industry you're currently working in? So, let's say you're working in hospitality, just put in hospitality, retail, healthcare, whatever industry you're working in, and you're thinking about transitioning into cybersecurity, or you've already started, can you put that in the chat while we wait? This just helps me use examples that are going to be useful to you when we start. So if you go into the chat, somebody's already working in IT, great. So you're wanting to move into cybersecurity from IT, pretty easy move. Um, if you do you know what role in cybersecurity you're interested in? If not, that's fine. That's why we're here. But Enrique, do you know what role exactly you're going for in cybersecurity? If you do, please let me know. Any you guys that are just joining, welcome. I'm not sure yet. That's why I'm here. Don't worry. You will either know by the end of the session. If not, then please reach out to me. We have a tool that I'm happy to give to you for free to help you figure it out. So basically, it asks you some assessment questions, like 7 questions, based on what you like, how you want to work. And then it will suggest like 6 roles. It will tell you the salary for each role, whether it's a remote job or you have to go into the office. My email is Kimberly at Growth Office Partners. So I think you'll know by the end of the session. If you don't know, I'm happy to just give that to you simply because you're the only one that responded to me. Those that are just joining, welcome, welcome. My question to you in the chat, please put what industry you're in and which cybersecurity role you are interested in getting into. That just helps me to use examples that are going to be useful for you. Healthcare, got it. Okay. That's an easy transition. I'm going to use that as well as one of the examples for how you transition from healthcare into cybersecurity. I'm going to give latecomers 1 more minute and we are going to start. Recent graduate in marketing. Oh my gosh, Peter, I started from marketing as well. So you're going to love my story. Started my degrees in marketing. Yeah, so you're going to love my story. You're joining from Myanmar. Nice. Welcome, welcome. Okay, I don't want to waste your time. We're not going to wait for latecomers. So I'm going to record the session so that those that are not able to make it can can also see it. And I'm going to share my screen and get started. Okay. So welcome to this session on how to find, oh, I am not recording, am I? Thank you for that. So welcome to this session on how I might have to stop sharing my screen in order to record. Do I have to do that? Do you guys know? Do you guys? Oh, is it automatically recording? It is recording. Okay. So, welcome to this session on how to transition into cybersecurity without starting over. A lot of people in this room right now are not in cybersecurity yet. By the end of this webinar, I hope that you see where you are, where you're supposed to be. Law international, okay. International relations, business admin, love that. From the educational field, I'm going to use those as examples. Shipping and logistics, I have someone in my class right now who's from shipping and logistics. Great. Okay, so let me get started. My name is Kimberly Simon. I'm going to play a little video just to tell you who I am, and then we are going to get started.
My name is Kimberly Simon. I am a cybersecurity author, keynote speaker, and strategic advisor for organizations looking to design, implement, or strengthen their IT and cybersecurity programs. For everybody that checked, please contact me after. I will arrange cybersecurity awareness training for you. Why are we surprised of the growing threats and that people look to us to guide them on what they should do? People look to us to protect their information. So there is a growing battle between efficiency and security, and it will only continue to grow. Only continue to grow. I'm here to guide organizations through planning and executing on IT and cybersecurity strategies that not only protect, but also fuel growth. It is my hypothesis that organizations that embrace a culture of security are the ones best positioned to thrive and sustain themselves in today's economy.
Okay. Welcome everyone. Oops. Okay, so that was just a brief intro into who I am. I am going to get into my story very soon. We have the chat open, so if you want to be posting in there, talking to each other, to me, that's great. I'm going to be checking as much as I can. I'm going to share my details. Listen, let's add each other on LinkedIn. I'm now a part of your network. If I know someone that can help you or I can help you in something, ask me because I'm going to ask you if I need something. So just add me on LinkedIn. We're all in each other's network now. We can always help each other. You just don't know who I know or you know that I might need. So if I don't answer your question today, just you've got my email address and you have me on LinkedIn. But someone wants to move from IT department to SOC. Great. We're going to cover that today. Don't worry about lack of experience. It's not about experience. It's about translating the experience that you have to make you more desirable for a SOC role. Security operations, you know it. You've been doing IT. So you will never have to say that again. You have experience. Don't worry. So we all know the job market has changed. Even for smart people, we're seeing layoffs in a lot of industries. Why? Because of tech, because of automation, AI is changing job responsibilities. We're seeing that there are fewer full-time roles and more contract and unstable work. People are just working harder, and it just feels like, the world is going really in an uncertain way. So what we're seeing is there's a lot of layoffs and uncertainty in these kind of roles like marketing, communications, operations, customer support, project coordination. People are moving into more stable industries. And I want to say this at the very beginning. While we're seeing a lot of layoffs and AI taking over some jobs, cybersecurity has been growing. Why? Because we're relying more and more on tech. I don't know if you read the news today. They were looking at comparisons of construction, and data centers has like gone up by billions in terms of the amount of data centers that are being built. So when you think of IT, it's growing. When you think of cybersecurity, it's definitely one of those industries where the more we use technology, the more we need cybersecurity professionals. I've been doing this now for over 18 years, and I can tell you we've never had enough people in the role. I have been, I've just seen that we've never had enough people to get into cybersecurity. So it's definitely one of those industries that are growing. So why is this moment mattering? Many people respond to uncertainty with waiting it out, taking random courses, or applying endlessly with no clarity. So this is the time where you make a decision. Hey, what do I want to do with my career? You don't have to wait. You can really just think of industries that are growing even in today's world and what's going on. There's still industries like cybersecurity that are growing. So you're supposed to be intentional, not reactive. One thing I want to say is transition is not failure. So moving from one field to another is not failure. You're just shifting. You're making a career shift from what you were doing to an industry that's actually growing. You're just redirecting your experience. What I like to say is think of it like moving schools in the middle of the semester. You don't lose what you learned from the other school. You just you take your credits and you take them into the new school, and you're still able to use what you learned. And that's what I want to help you do today. Just think about where you've been and what you've been doing and how you can use it in cybersecurity. After this session, you won't need me, but if you decide to work with me anyway, I would like to. So why is cybersecurity different? Well, cybersecurity is about people. It's about risk, it's about processes, it's about trust. And you can't automate that. You can automate some processes. We are using AI in cybersecurity, but we're using it for repetitive tasks and mundane jobs that you didn't want anyway. But we still rely on people for accountability, especially in cybersecurity. They need someone's head on the chopping board in case something goes wrong. So we're always going to need human decision making, and we're always going to need human accountability. Every industry that you can think of, healthcare, retail, government, logistics, construction, any industry that you can think of relies on digital systems in some way. They use some sort of technology. And what that means is they need cybersecurity. So there's no company, big or small, that does not need cybersecurity today. In fact, we need it in our personal lives as well. So cybersecurity is just one of those subjects that you cannot escape. One of those subjects that even if people try to ignore it, they secretly worry about it. So you are entering into a field that, by what we see, will always have work, because the more we use tech, the more we use AI, the more we need security. AI governance is a big thing right now. Everybody's using AI, but we didn't have governance. We didn't have rules and policies around it. So everybody's scrambling. And that's another thing that makes you not late for, you know how in certain industries, you're too late, like a pyramid scheme. You're too late if you come in, at the end or in the middle. Cybersecurity is always evolving. Threats are always evolving and growing, which means you can join anytime, because we're always learning. The people in the field are always learning, because that's what things change all the time. So you're not too late. You're never too late to get into this field. Cybersecurity cannot be fully automated. Accountability and trust require people. And one thing I want to say to you today, most entry-level cybersecurity jobs do not require you to code anymore. We can get AI to code for us. We need you to understand risk. We need you to follow processes, and we need you to communicate clearly and critically. That's the stuff that AI can't do. But in terms of building something, writing code, AI can do that. In terms of alerting us when things are wrong in the network, AI can do that. But cybersecurity, in terms of the non-technical roles, you cannot do. Yes, my email address, it is kimberly@growthofficepartners.com. Feel free to email me if I don't answer your question, or if you just want to stay in touch, or you can add me on LinkedIn. If I know someone who can help you, I will introduce you. So the biggest myth about cybersecurity that most people don't think about is that you must code. People think, oh, I have to code. I have to have a computer science degree. I need 10 certifications before I can get into cybersecurity, or I'm too old, or I have to start from the very bottom, and I won't get paid well. That is all not true. And how many of you today believed one of these things? I am going to correct you by the end of this session. So the truth really is that cybersecurity is not one job. Think about a hospital. You've got doctors, nurses, you've got finance, HR, operations, compliance. And I want to be honest with you, one of the reasons why we started this part of our business on training people to get into cybersecurity, besides the fact that I saw a gap in the market, because I've been a CEO of a private equity owned business. We always struggled for talent. I've been VP of a global cybersecurity company. We always struggled for talent. So I knew there was a gap in the market. But another reason why I started this side of our business was because I always used to get that question, hey, I want to get into cybersecurity. Which job do you think I should do? And I'm like, well, there's loads of jobs. And they're like, well, how do I get into cybersecurity? Well, which part of cybersecurity? So I saw that a lot of people are wanting to get into the field. It's just that they haven't been told their options. So we're going to talk about a few options here today. I want to play another video. It's the last one for today. I'm not going to play all of it. I want you to get the idea. And what these people are really talking about is that you can transition from any field into cybersecurity. So I'll play this for just like a minute. And then if you want the link, email me. I'm happy to share it if you want to listen to the whole thing. But just get the idea of what they're saying.
When you think about cybersecurity jobs, there's a wide range of technology, people, and process jobs. Right? When I look at it, one of my favorite people who've moved across is a librarian. because one of the things we have to do is manage large document stores. And so we look for people who have a skill set that can translate, and rather than thinking of it as an entry-level job, it's really an insertion-level job, right? How do you insert yourself into a job that's about cybersecurity, but it takes skills from other disciplines as well?
Now, Kelly, you've found someone who has a set of skills that we would also think might be, in the current world, somewhat antiquated, and yet you've taken a repo man.
Yeah, so in one of my previous roles, I had a repo man who actually came over and was an amazing pen tester. And the skills are very similar. It's just
What? I'm sorry?
he was a repo man. So
And a what kind of tester?
a penetration tester.
Okay, thank you.
So a penetration tester is very similar to a repo man. It's someone that goes in and looks at a computer system. They have that security mindset. They look for different types of vulnerabilities. They look for different ways to penetrate the network and exploit it. So a repo man actually has to do that as well, just in a more analog world. This is just a digital version of that type of job.
And how long did it take for the transition to take hold?
I mean, he had computer skill sets already, so it was just a simple, migration into that, and he developed some of those penetration skills, testing skills over a matter of 6 months to a year.
When you think about cyber,
So, as you've just seen from that video, not everybody who works in cybersecurity has a computer science degree, nor did they even start in IT. I'm happy to share the link. You've got my email address. I'm happy to share the link, and if you want to watch more of that video. But you've got a librarian, you've got a repo man, you've got people from all sorts of different backgrounds that transition to work for these big companies and come into cybersecurity. So I want to talk about where I begin. I want you to, and I hope that this tells you why I care so much about helping people enter into cybersecurity. I didn't start in a technical role. In fact, I don't know how to code. I don't have a computer science degree. My degree is in marketing. So I entered cybersecurity 18 years ago through the marketing department of a cybersecurity company. So I started working for a cybersecurity company in the marketing department. I didn't have a cybersecurity degree, but we didn't have AI. So I had to write a lot of content in order to sell the business, which meant that I had to learn what the business actually did. So I was like, oh, wow, this stuff is really, I was working for a compliance company. So I was like, wow, this stuff is really, really interesting. So I started learning about compliance. I started getting into it. Over time, I found my path, and I love GRC. So governance, risk, and compliance leadership. That's where I ended up. And I built my career in cybersecurity, not knowing that that's where I was going. So the best thing about this job is, it's global. The skills that you learn in cybersecurity are needed everywhere in the world. I have worked across England. I have worked in Dubai. I moved to Dubai. I worked there for 2 years. I moved to Canada, stayed there. Now I am in Durham, North Carolina. So you get to travel the world and live in different places. I've advised organizations. I've published 2 books on cybersecurity compliance. I've helped professionals understand how cybersecurity really works. So from my humble beginnings in marketing and being open to learning, being open to growing and networking, this is what my life now looks like. I was, like I said, I was VP of a global cybersecurity compliance company. Then went on to become CEO of a company called Secure Network Administration, which is private equity owned. And then I started Growth Office Partners, where I get to work with some of the greatest minds in cybersecurity that I know. You get to work from the comfort of your home. So I work from home or wherever I'm vacationing. I'm now a regular cybersecurity partner for organizations like WRL News, ABC 11. I work with the Department of Transportation here. I work with the Center for Nonprofits. I hope that all of this is inspiring you and showing you what's possible, even without a technical background, because I don't have one. And yet you can still do all of this. You can, there are roles in cybersecurity that don't need you to code. So my journey is proof of this. You don't need to start technical to build a real career in cybersecurity. You just need clarity, you need confidence, and you need the right path. So the goal of this workshop is to help you pick a path today. At least, one that you're thinking, I could potentially go this way. So what does this mean to you? We've already talked about cybersecurity that doesn't need you to become someone else. So it needs your ability to analyze situations, your experience. So we're going to talk a little bit about your experience right now, your communication, your coordination, your judgment. These are the things that people are looking for. So I've built what's called a cybersecurity career map. it's in Role Finder. As I said earlier on, I have Role Finder. Happy to share it with you guys. Just get in touch. It's no big deal. Happy to share it with you. It helps. It's an assessment that helps you figure out where you're supposed to go in cybersecurity. But we're going to manually do some of that right now. I want you to think of cybersecurity in three core areas. So there's the build and protect systems, which is what people do in that first area. Those people are technical. We're not going to be talking about those kind of roles in this workshop. So build and protect systems are technical people. Then you have people who monitor and respond. Those are semi-technical. There is a little bit of technical work in there. We'll talk about that. I think someone said they wanted to work in SOC, that Security Operations Center, that's semi-technical. So that would fall under that. And then there are people who manage risk and compliance. That's non-technical. That's where I've been working. So those are three families of core areas, I would say, for cybersecurity. And we're going to focus on number 2 and number 3 in this workshop. And I'm going to try and simplify it for you as much as possible. And why I think the non-technical roles are growing is because the technical ones, they're finding ways to do it cheaper and faster. That's why they're using AI for coding, for all of that stuff. But when it comes to things that humans do, such as, building regulations, rules, and making sure that rules are actually implemented. So if you think of a company developing their policies and procedures, tech can help you do that, but you need a human to actually oversee it and make sure that it's being done. Because guess what? The technology doesn't work at a desk in the office. So you need a human being to actually make sure that it's done. When you have a cybersecurity audit happening, unfortunately, tech can't do it for you. You need a human being to verify to the auditor what's been done and provide the proof that's needed. So I hope you're starting to see that there's things in cybersecurity that tech just can't do for you. We use tech to help us do it faster and organize it, but essentially a human still sits behind it. So that's why. So let's talk about your transferable skills. This is the part of the workshop where I want you to get a pen and a paper. You're going to get out of this as much as you put in. So if I were you, I'll do it. Get a pen and a paper and let's do this together. So I want you to start answering these questions. Let's start with the first one. What industries have you worked? Think about the last 10 years. What industries would you say you've worked? I would write that down. And then I want you to think about, what have people always trusted you to do? I'll give you an example. I've always been a doer. So whenever something needs to get done, whether it's following up with something, or so if we're working with a third-party vendor and they didn't do something, whether it had something to do with my department or not, people would say, tell Kimberly to call them. Why? I'm very good at managing relationships and I'm very good at managing vendors. So vendor management and vendor risk management is what I enjoy that. I'm good at making sure we get what we're supposed to get from our vendors. And if they don't, I'm the one that will call you and say, hey, you promised us that you're going to get this. So think about that as well. What problems do coworkers ask you to solve? Think about that. What meetings are you usually invited to, if any? And then what responsibilities have you had? So start thinking about it. I'm going to tell you now how to actually put that into something you can use. So let's look at a career map. I'm going to give you a role family, so kind of like what we looked at. And then I'll talk through a few roles that fall into that family and then what they do and great backgrounds for that role. You compare it to what you've just written down. So let's do that. The first one is my favorite, like I said, governance, risk, and compliance. The roles that fall under GRC are these are more entry-level roles. So we're going to talk about entry-level roles. If you are mid-career, I can help you, but you're going to have to talk to me offline for that. For today, let's start with entry-level. So here are some of the roles that would fall under GRC. So you have a governance analyst, you've got a risk analyst. These are just some examples. There's obviously more. We got compliance analysts. We've got a GRC specialist, IT auditor, policy analyst, all of that, right? What these people do is that they write policies. Amongst other things, they assess business risk, they ensure compliance, they do audit prep, they recommend improvements. If you can already start to see yourself doing this, then this is somewhere where you could look into. Great backgrounds to do these kind of jobs are people coming from HR, finance, banking, legal, insurance, healthcare, admin. Great personalities for these kind of roles are people who enjoy organization, people who enjoy documentation, people who enjoy structure, people who enjoy helping businesses reduce risk. So this could be your lane right here. If this sounds like you, this could be your lane. The next one we're looking at is privacy and data protection. So here are some roles that fall under this role family. So you got like a privacy analyst, you got a program coordinator, someone in compliance. And what these people do is that they focus on helping protect customer data. So they're ensuring privacy laws are followed. So the first thing is you understand, the compliance requirements and the regulations that business is supposed to comply with, and then you help them meet those requirements. You're doing privacy assessments, you're supporting legal teams with whatever documentation they need. That's what you're doing in that role. And the backgrounds that typically do well in these kind of privacy roles are healthcare, legal, HR, government, insurance, and banking. Another great one is project management. Program and project management is another really good place to get into cybersecurity. The roles that you could apply for are the cybersecurity project manager, security program manager, PMO analyst. These are some of the roles that you can apply for if you're interested in project management. And these people typically coordinate cybersecurity projects. So if there's an audit going on, you're the one kind of keeping things in order. If there is a policy or that needs to be implemented, you're kind of helping the business help figure out how to implement it. Checking has everybody done it, all of that good stuff. So you're helping manage budgets as well. You're leading meetings, you're tracking timelines and milestones, and basically removing roadblocks for a company that's trying to do something. So if you're coming from a project management background anyway, this is a great place for you to just get your foot in the door. If you're coming from operations, or you're a coach or consultant, this is another really great place for you to get into. Those are the first three examples. Let's look at a few more. The next one is audit and vendor risk. I worked with a lot of auditors in my time. And so these are IT auditors. These people have a good time, can I just say? They travel. So typically, if you're doing an on-site audit, you get to travel to wherever you're doing it. And that's great. I've seen the world on the company. You could get into vendor risk management, which I love vendor risk management. A third-party risk specialist, that's another one you could apply for. So basically what these people do is they assess third-party vendors, they review contracts, they evaluate supplier security. So if we're going to work with a vendor, you would look at, hey, what information are we sharing with them? Are we still secure? You're conducting audits on your third-party vendors. If you think of any business today, they work with loads and loads of third-party vendors, and they need to make sure that, first of all, they're not sharing unnecessary information, and the information that they are sharing is protected. People that do great in this kind of audit jobs are people coming from accounting, procurement, finance. I know someone's coming from finance, supply chain, risk, insurance. These, being an auditor is a great one. You get to meet a lot of people, work with different companies. You'll never be bored. Security operations is another one. So I know somebody said in the chat that they are interested in getting into SOC. So you can apply for a SOC analyst job, incident response. Can I say, if you've been looking at the news, the cybersecurity news, I know I do, you notice that there's a lot more incidents happening all the time now. Getting into incident response is a good idea. Those people make a lot of money. You are basically helping a company when they've had an incident, a cybersecurity breach, or they have had a ransomware attack. You come in and you help them get back to business, basically. So you're monitoring alerts, you're investigating suspicious activity, you're responding to cyber attacks. So incident response is a great one. People who have got good backgrounds, and please don't be limited. If you have the personality to do the job, I'm just giving you examples of what I've seen in terms of backgrounds that do well in SOC. IT, that's an easy transition for you. So I know someone is already coming from IT in this group here tonight. This is an easy transition for you, and I think you would enjoy it. If you're coming from the military, law enforcement, if you're coming from a technical professional coming from another tech field, this is definitely a great place to enter. And then another one is customer facing cybersecurity roles. These are fun if you like, you like customer facing. So these are your customer success manager. Customer success manager is very close to a project manager. It's just that companies call it different things. But you've got security consultants. So those people that are called in to say, hey, what should we do? If you think of the small mom and pop shop next to your house, a lot of them don't even know where to start when it comes to cybersecurity. So it's not even like you have to learn a lot to be able to help them. You can pretty much, within a couple of years, be able to be consulting to help small businesses. So that's possible. Sales engineering is great because businesses will always need sales. You can use AI all you want. You can use tech all you want, but ultimately people buy from other people. So sales is another really good one to get into. So what these people do, they do sales, they do relationship management. More and more relationship management is becoming very important in cybersecurity because cybersecurity is getting competitive and technology cannot manage your relationships for you. So I know that one of the parts that I really loved about my job was looking after our clients, taking them out, getting to understand more about what they're working on. That was in attending conferences. I loved that. So the customer facing roles are also an option for you. Great backgrounds. If you're coming from sales anyway, I would say let's start there for you. If you're coming from management in another field, I would say let's start there for you. Customer success, consulting, retail. This is a great one because you're used to working with customers anyway. So we've gone through 6 families. This is not exhaustive, but as you've been looking at it, is there a job in here that you're like, oh my gosh, that sounds like me? Please put it in the chat. Okay, honey, we're going to talk about building an effective resume. We're going to talk about that next. Ooh, I want a biostatistician. I can't even say it. Do SOC role. Yes, you can. You can. You're coming from healthcare, I believe. And I'm going to use that as an example. You are already dealing with private, information that is regulated, so you're working in that. Okay, so if you've seen a role in here that you think matches your personality, please put it in the chat. Okay, let's see, SOC, GRC, audit, incident response. Okay, so there are other roles. As I said, this is not exhaustive. Ferdinand, other side from SOC, other fit for someone looking for amplifying software engineering role. Send me a note. You've got my email address. I'm going to send you Role Finder, and you can look at that. So a lot of these like GRC roles, you do not need to code. You're fine. I don't code. Vendor risk, you don't need to code. Yeah. Okay. So let's carry on. The next thing I want us to do is look at, so you've now looked at where you could potentially fit. Now I want to talk about the next question you're asking is, hey, do I get to work from home? Do I have to go into the office? How much does it pay? Let's look at some typical entry-level salary ranges for what you've just chosen for yourself. So GRC entry level is you're looking at that range, 60 to 85. And this is best for people who want to work remotely or hybrid. And then privacy, again, remote or hybrid, 65 to 90. All of this depends obviously on where you are, but this is a good range for an entry level salary ranges. I say this so that like if you're trying to be SOC, typically you're working on site. So you should think about that as you're applying for jobs. Do I want to go into the office or do I want to work from home? What I've seen in doing this is I typically find that men, especially men who have families, prefer to go to the office because they want to get away from home, the kids, the wife, and just concentrate on work. So they tend to want, those SOC roles where they have to go to the office. Almost every woman I talk to says they want a remote job. So think about things like that. Don't just apply for a job. Think about how you want to live your life as well. Since 2023, most employers have shifted away from fully remote anyway towards more of a hybrid arrangement, particularly for entry-level employees. So there are some remote, hybrid, and on-site options for you to consider. The next thing I want to talk about is what happens. So let's say you get into one of these cybersecurity roles. Are you going to be stuck in it for the next 15 years? And I want to tell you that that's actually not the case. In cybersecurity, you can grow really fast. Remember, all of us are constantly learning and evolving. So you're not too late. So if you're just somebody that's, interested in learning and you evolve quickly with the company, you can grow. It's realistic for your career progression to happen within 18 to 24 months. So that may have been your starting salary, but you're getting your foot in the door into a new industry, into a new field. So, you may have to just start with an entry level position, but it's very realistic for you to grow quickly and get into mid or senior level position within 18 to 24 months. And your salary could look anywhere from 120 to 220. And that's mid career, right? So you can only imagine as you grow. So, and this is for people that are actually wanting to grow with the company and continue to learn and grow. So now, the value that I've just delivered to you is I've given you a few role families to consider. I've shown you that there's so many different roles that you can consider to apply for. I have hopefully given you an idea of salary ranges, how you would work. Would you work from home? Would you be going into the office? I've shown you what it would look like 24 months from now. So now that you have a role in mind. So I'm assuming all of us here have a role in mind that, hey, I would like to work in this role. The next thing, that's another thing I hear all the time. Am I too old? You are not too old. Why? Because remember what I said at the beginning, you are not starting from scratch. You are translating the experience that you already have just in a different field. If you move schools in the middle of the semester, you do not lose your credit. You don't forget everything that you've learned. If you are 42 or 45 and you want to get into cybersecurity, you simply need to figure out which role you want. You may want a management position. Can you email me? Is it Urjan? I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I'm going to send you a link to a lady who completed my course. She said the same thing. So I'll send you a testimonial on YouTube. So happy to send that to everybody. But anyway, she completed this course and she used to say the same thing. She was like, how am I going to do this? I'm so much older. She finished it and now she is working as the director of operations. So she got a job as director of operations with security oversight. So the people who work in security report to her. So you can still get into a management position. We just need to use the experience that you have to get you into the right role. So maybe an analyst role is not what you want at 42. Maybe it is. Either way, it's all in your head. You're not too old to do anything. So now that you know what job you want to get into, the next thing that you want to, for any interview, the first thing they're going to ask you is introduce yourself. Or if you go to an event tomorrow and you say, hey, Kim, I want to start looking for a job. Now I know I want to get into GRC. I want to start looking for a job as, a risk analyst. How do I even translate what I know to sounding like I could do it? So let's do that together. Get a pen and a paper. We're going to do it together. What we use, we have a course that we do. What we use is called the SEAT method. So S stands for skills. So the idea is we're going to map what strengths you bring. So is it problem solving? Is it communication? Is it customer service? Is it collaboration? We need to figure out what skills you bring to cybersecurity. And then E is for education and experience. So the education that you have is not wasted. The experience that you have from whatever industry you're coming from is not wasted. And then achievements. So you need to be able to list something that you've done, something that you've achieved, because that's what employers are looking for, you to come and achieve things for their business, right? And then the type of person that you are at work. Essentially, people hire other people. So they want to know, are you going to fit in with my culture? Are you going to fit in to this business? So let's do this together. So again, get your pen and a paper. I want us to do the SEEP method for you. Let's start with S. So let's list the skills that you have that could be used in cybersecurity. Forget about whatever industry you're coming from. That's not important. What strength do you bring to a cybersecurity team? I'm going to give you some examples here so that if you know, just for the sake of time, it'll be quicker if I give you some things to pick from. I want you to think about 4 or 5 skills that you have that could potentially be useful to a cybersecurity team. Write those down. Please don't choose a skill because it sounds impressive. Choose it because you actually have it and you've demonstrated it. Remember, you have to do this every day, so you have to be honest about what you're good at. So if you've been a teacher, you're good at communication, you're good at training, you're good at planning, you're good at documentation. If you've been in healthcare, you're good at privacy, you're good at confidentiality, you're good at working under pressure, you're good at attention to detail. If you've been working in retail, customer service, you're good at conflict resolution, sales, you're good at problem solving. If you've been working an admin role, think of things like organization, documentation, scheduling, communication. That's what you're good at. So list 4 or 5 things that you think, hey, I would bring these really great skills that people need in cybersecurity. Let's see what's in the chat. Oh, I'll repost my email. I don't think, well, so someone said they're 40 and they believe that their age is a reason why they haven't been hired. I want to tell you something, and I've interviewed a lot of people. I would say that for roles where you are going to be leading a team, I prefer people who are older. They're more patient, they've seen more, so it can work for you as well. So it's about really finding out where you fit. You may have just applied for roles that don't highlight your skills or where it doesn't really show what you're bringing to the table. But no, you can completely position yourself and get the job you want. And we can work on that. If you want to, you can tell us which kind of roles you've been applying for. So E is for education. So this is what qualifies you to get into cybersecurity, right? So because you need to address that. So here are some examples so write down any cybersecurity training that you've done, write down any degrees that you have. It doesn't matter if they're not related to cybersecurity. We're going to talk about that. Write down diplomas, certificates that you've done. If you've done volunteer work, we'll write that down as well. And then projects that you've done. So here's something. If you've done, so we have a cybersecurity career accelerator that we do, and we give people homework where they have to create things. So every week you create something, whether you write a policy and procedure, or you write an incident response plan, or you do a mini audit, like a compliance audit. Those things are things that qualify you. So you would name those things. So people I work with would say, I recently completed a cybersecurity accelerator program focused on GRC, cloud security, incident response, and governance. So that's something you could say. Or if you haven't done that, you could say, hey, I've spent 8 years working in customer service. Don't apologize for changing careers. Own it, because you still have something to bring. It's your confidence that's going to get you there, right? And then A is for achievements. So I want you to write 1 or 2 achievements that you're proud of. Every career that you can think of has achievements. Think about improvements that you made. What changed because of you? It doesn't have to be huge. Even a small achievement counts. Did you help customers? Did you improve processes? It doesn't matter if you're coming from a field that's not cybersecurity related. Did you improve a process where you're coming from? Did you help the business save time or save money? Did you train someone? Did you reduce mistakes? I want you to write 1 achievement that you're proud of. Did you increase sales by doing something? Did you organize something or lead something? There's something that you did wherever you've been working over the years that we can put here. So please think of something that you have done that we could potentially put here. Okay, you've been doing IT specialist, junior network admin, system admin, IT help desk tier one. Okay, let's talk about that. I finished a BS and applied cybersecurity from San. So all I'm hearing, and I could be wrong, all I'm hearing is it's a positioning problem. Let me tell you this. Are you getting interviews, honey? Are you getting interviews at all? Because you can't say it's the age because when someone looks at your resume, they don't yet so it's there you go. So they don't know how old you are. So it means there's something wrong with your resume. The only job of your resume is to get you a discussion, is to get you a meeting, get you an interview. The rest your mouth is going to do. So what we would need to do is look at your resume because all it has to do is get you a conversation. Your mouth does the rest. So if you're not even getting the interviews yet, it's not an age problem. It's a positioning problem. Okay, T is for the type of person that you are. Remember, people hire other people. So choose 3 words that describe who you are at work. So are you curious? Are you reliable? Are you positive? Are you professional? Adaptable? That's me. I can always switch and go, okay, are we doing this now? Collaborative is a great one. Write 3 words that describe who you are at work. Okay, now let's put it together. So, hi, my name is. Throughout my career, I've developed strong skills in, name the 5 that we did at the beginning. Recently, I have named that achieve the thing that you've done. And then one achievement you're particularly proud of is this. And then you're someone who enjoys this. That's who you are at work. And then you can talk about the job that you're interested in. So what attracted me to cybersecurity because. Do you want me to give you an example of how I would say it if it was me? Okay, let me give you my example. So everything you've just done. So you are now to put it together. Hi, my name is. Throughout my career, I've developed skills in. Then you talk about your skills. Recently, I have. So you can talk about your education. So if you've done a certification, like I know Honey just finished a master's in something, you would talk about that. If you've just done our program, you would talk about that. If you've got something else, you talk about that. One achievement I'm particularly proud of is you have to have something that you've done in your past job that you're now mapping to cybersecurity because it takes away that wall that this person can't do anything in cybersecurity. You're already addressing it by translating your experience yourself. And I'm someone who enjoys this. Put what it is that makes you a good person to join that team because essentially they're asking themselves, are you going to fit in with their team? And then talk about why you want the job you wanted. So let me give you an example. Hi, my name is Kimberly Simon. Throughout my career, I've developed strong skills in communication, stakeholder engagement, problem solving, and helping organizations make informed business decisions. More recently, I've applied those skills to cybersecurity by working with organizations to improve security posture and cybersecurity education. So now I'm talking about what I've done, right? My achievement I'm particularly proud of is creating a cybersecurity upskilling program that has helped career changers build practical cybersecurity knowledge while gaining confidence to speak about cybersecurity in professional settings. I'm someone who enjoys continuous learning, building relationships, and helping organizations reduce risk. That's why I'm excited to pursue this cybersecurity analyst role, where I can combine my business experience, communication skills, and cybersecurity knowledge to help companies identify risk. So see how no matter what industry you're coming from, you can actually translate your experience to be able to fit in a cybersecurity role. You can do this. After everything we've just done today, you can totally do this. I'm going to send you this recording. Feel free to watch it again if you want to. You can totally do this. The next thing I want to leave you with is a 90-day transition plan. So here's how you could spend the next 90 days if you wanted to get into cybersecurity. So the first thing is do not go and start learning. Clarity is where you first need to be. Don't start by studying. The first thing you want to do is decide. Remember, we talked about this. Cybersecurity is not one career, it's dozens of them. So if you don't know whether you're pursuing governance or risk or privacy or project management or vendor risk, you're going to waste months and months of your time learning. And you're going to be wondering, I'm learning all of these things, but I don't have a job. Well, it's because you're trying everything. If somebody wants to do law, they decide, hey, I'm going to do family law, and they go and learn family law and they apply for family law jobs. They don't say while they're studying family law, hey, maybe I should also apply for criminal law, or maybe I should look at you. For you to get your foot in the door, we really need you to pick one. We need you to just pick a role, and we're going to go with that. Get your foot in the door. You can change your mind later, but if you keep changing your mind or trying to learn everything, you're never going to do anything. So this month, this first 30 days is just about clarity. So please research 20 jobs, research 15 jobs, whatever it is. Go on LinkedIn, go on Indeed, or whatever job boards that you like to use. Search for the roles that you've chosen that may be of interest to you, and read the job descriptions. One thing you're going to notice is they don't ask, especially for the entry level roles, they don't all ask for a computer science degree. They don't all ask for any degree at all. So look at the job descriptions and start to see, hey, I actually fit in some of these. Don't apply yet. Look at those. Look for patterns. When you're looking at these jobs, you'll know exactly what employers are looking for. Don't let one job posting put you off and say, well, I don't belong in cybersecurity. That's not true. Look for common themes in the jobs that meet what you bring to the table. You don't need to become an expert. But you will need to learn the basics. So now, after you've chosen the job that you want to get into, you need to learn cybersecurity fundamentals and foundations. You do need to know how to talk about risk, how to talk about compliance. You need to know why cybersecurity is important in a business and be able to say it. You know what I mean? Like, remember I said, we can fix your resume to get you a conversation, but if in the conversation you fall apart, you've just wasted time. And I say to everybody that works with us that if you get an interview, you better get that job, because it's not like, interviews are raining out of the sky. So you better know your stuff. So you prepare, know your fundamentals, your foundations, and then join LinkedIn communities and start following cybersecurity professionals so you know at least what's going on in the industry. That's your first 30 days. The second thing you want to do in month 2 is update your personal brand. So you need to stop looking like someone from your old career. So whatever you were doing before, you need to stop looking like that person. You now need to look like someone who is transitioning into cybersecurity. That's what we need to work on. So for that, your LinkedIn shouldn't just say project manager. Oh my gosh, it should now say project manager transitioning into cybersecurity governance and risk. Or it should say healthcare professional transitioning into cybersecurity compliance. Recruiters search LinkedIn using keywords. So if your profile doesn't even contain the keywords that they're searching for when they're trying to find a candidate, then they're not going to find you. So we need to fix your LinkedIn so that at least you're using some of the right keywords so that recruiters find you. It's easier for a recruiter to find you than for you to be applying for every position yourself. So you really want to position yourself to be found. The second thing is your resume. Please remember, you don't rewrite your experience, you're just translating it. Your experience is needed. We're going to just translate it. So instead of you manage projects, you're going to say things like, I led cross-functional projects involving risk management, documentation, stakeholder. You're saying things like that. All you want is your resume to get you the conversation. You are going to do the rest with your mouth, and we can prepare for that. Most people think that you don't need a portfolio, and a portfolio is just for developers. You need it, especially if you're coming from another field. It really helps you. It helps your confidence. But I know that if I'm hiring somebody that's transitioning and they want to get into GRC, for example, and they've never seen a policy, I'm not going to give you the job. You've never even seen what a policy looks like. You don't even know what a real risk assessment looks like. So I advise you to at least know what it looks like get some sort of training, not certification. Nobody's hiring a certification. Get real experience doing some of it. So build where you build things. So you've got a risk assessment that you've done a vendor risk assessment, you've done a business continuity plan. Those are things that you can reference in your interview. Remember, your mouth gets you the job. So but if you're lying and you actually have never done it, they'll see through that. So you actually want to have genuinely done it. Then you can say, yeah, I built a vendor risk. I've done a vendor risk management as part of my project, whatever. Networking, I don't need to tell you. This is where many jobs come from today. So I encourage you to connect with 5 cybersecurity professionals each week at least. comment thoughtfully on their posts, attend webinars, attend events, join your local meetup groups, and participate in professional associations. So networking. Add me on your LinkedIn. If you see a job that's posted and I'm connected to somebody who posted that job, happy to make an introduction. Yeah, so you can position yourself. And then the last 30 days, what you need to do is start mock interviews. So practice questions like, tell me about yourself. So we just did that here today. Practice questions like, why cybersecurity? Describe a time that you've managed risk. Tell me about a difficult stakeholder. Describe a time you've solved a problem. These are questions that we ask in cybersecurity interviews. So notice that these are all behavioral questions. They're not technical ones. So many non-technical cybersecurity roles are won because of your communication skills. So you're communicating well, you're demonstrating sound judgment, and so start doing mock interviews and start applying. Don't hold back, start applying. Working with us, you start applying within 8 weeks. We're like, can you start applying now? You need to start applying for a job. People just talk about it, and you're like, at some point, you actually have to start moving and applying for jobs. Many people wait for recruiters to reach out to them. We also say, search cybersecurity recruiter and reach out to them. Search for talent acquisition. Search for risk recruiter if you're trying to get into risk. Connect with them, send them a short message, introduce yourself, and then ask for referrals. If you, like I said, if you have someone in your network, ask them, tell them, hey, I'm transitioning into cybersecurity. I noticed that you've been in the field. So if you see somebody that's hiring, don't connect with people and ask for a job. I would connect with people and say things like, hey, I'm transitioning into cybersecurity. I noticed that you've been in the field for several years. Would you be willing to share some advice for someone who wants to get into the field? Start having conversations. So that is your month 3. So now I hope that you can see the real question is not, can you do this? The real question is, where will you be in 6 months if you don't do it? Cybersecurity roles are growing. Time is going to pass anyway. You may as well do something with it. Right? If nothing changes, nothing changes. You will be exactly where you are today if you do nothing. But if you start moving towards this, 6 months from now, you could be well on your way, or you may even be in your job. You don't know where you could be, but everything starts with trying. So I want to tell you about our cybersecurity career accelerator. What it's not a certification shortcut. It's not a technical boot camp, and it's not something that's teaching you how to code. It is not, it's a structured, guided pathway that prepares you to enter into cybersecurity realistically, especially if you're not technical. So we prepare you to understand real cybersecurity roles. We identify where you fit. We build your cybersecurity foundation. We help you speak in cybersecurity terms. So plain business language. We translate your experience. We explain cyber risk, policy, incidents, all of that in interviews for you. And then we help you build real portfolio artifacts that you can use to build your confidence, but also refer to in your interviews. So what a week looks like is we have one live evening session. So it's on a Tuesday. So it would be like a Tuesday like today, and it would be from 7 till 8:30. We have an optional office hour before the class. So if we taught something last week and you didn't understand it, you come an hour before the class and we explain it to you. And then you have to do some homework. So an hour or two every week of homework because you're building a portfolio. And there's, help and support to do all of that. This program is for people who are changing careers or restarting, people who do not have a technical background, people who want stability in a growing field, and people who are tired of guessing and trying to do it themselves and want help. So if today's workshop gave you clarity, the Cybersecurity Accelerator is where you want to go to next. How the program works is we have 2 options. So there's an 8-week core program. So everybody does this. This is where we teach you the basics. We give you assignments and we give you a structured pathway to get into cybersecurity and position yourself. The 12-week program includes an extra 4 weeks where there's private coaching, there's resume and LinkedIn optimization. So we take the last 4 weeks to help you with like mock interviews, career strategy, and all of that good stuff. So there's 8 weeks and a 12-week option. What that looks like. So let's talk about the investment because that's what you're all asking. I know that for many people, this isn't just a career decision, it's a financial one. This program is intentionally priced to be accessible. We are not a cybersecurity boot camp. So if you've looked at cybersecurity boot camps, some of them charge between $8,000 to $10,000. Most of those programs assume that you already want to be technical. They assume that they move very fast and they focus heavily on tools. Our cybersecurity accelerator is different. It's about turning you into it's not about turning you into an engineer. It's about helping you understand where you fit. So the 8-week core is 2,800. The 12-week career accelerator is 4,997. We have flexible payment options. We learn part-time. You learn with other people. So there's a lot of support, and that's your investment. So it's limited enrollment. We only run 2 cohorts a year. So we do one in April that just finished, and we do another one in September. So we only do 2 a year. And because it's very hands-on, we only take a few people. Like we can't take hundreds of people because we have to review everybody's homework. So we can't take hundreds of people. So we take a small group that we work with twice a year to help us with that. We're also a cybersecurity company, so we have clients, so we can't take too many people. It's live instruction. You're not going to be sitting at home watching videos. You're going to log in and learn from me, from 4 other people that work with you every week. So it's hands-on. You're working with people who are in the field, and it's a small group interaction. You have peers learning, and it's individualized support. So if you are ready to transition into cybersecurity, if today has you thinking, hey, I want to do this, the next step would be to reserve a spot for our September cohort. You're not committing, you're just applying. What we do is then we look at every application and then we choose a group that we can work with simply because you can't help everyone, and not everybody's the right fit. Maybe you are looking for something more technical and we're more non-technical. So if you're thinking, hey, this could be something for me, please go ahead and scan that QR code and email me if you need to ask anything. And that's it. Let me look at questions. I am here for a few more minutes. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Is it worth paying for LinkedIn? If you're job searching, it helps. I mean, you can do it without, but if you're job searching, it helps because it allows you to send messages to potential. Let's say you see a company that's hiring, but you can't send the message to the hiring manager. That might frustrate you. Here's what I would suggest. Why don't you try the free version? I think they allow you a trial and then see if you're using it. If it's useful, then you continue. If not, then oh, I'm sorry. Is it possible to go back to the T slide? I didn't see that. Oh, the type of person that you are. Send me a note and I will take a screenshot of it and send it to you. Yeah, it says the Njoku's asked me, is it possible to go back to the T slide? Take my email address, ask it to me via email. I'll take a screenshot and send it to you. How would you recommend building experience a portfolio, especially since we're transitioning into, yeah, oh my goodness. Building a portfolio, you can do it in a guided program like ours. Another thing you can do is volunteering. If you can find nonprofits that are looking for help, I know I work with the Center for Nonprofits, and there's a lot of small nonprofits that need help, but they don't have the budget. So they appreciate volunteers if you know what you're doing. So volunteering is definitely a great one to do. Do you have an option for those that are French speaking? Oh, I don't. I don't. I'm so sorry, Charlotte. I don't. And I'm trying to think of anyone in my network that teaches cybersecurity in French. I don't have anyone right now. Look on LinkedIn. You should be able to find someone that teaches cybersecurity in French, where you are. So you have my details. You can scan the QR code. I would love to welcome you to our Cybersecurity Accelerator. As I said, we only run 2 of these a year. So it would be great to welcome you to the next one. Um, Honey, send me a note. Send me a note on that. The volunteer, Google it. You can Google cybersecurity volunteer. You're gonna get some. I know of one of my students got one. If you look, there's a student that I actually interviewed on YouTube as well. She talks about getting a lot of volunteer opportunities while she was in our program, and that's good because it helps you reference things that you're actually doing, whether it's in your cover letter or in your interview. So that's another really good one. Any other questions? You have my details. You have my email address. I will send you the recording for this. Yeah, okay. I look forward to getting your email. I will send you the recording for this session. I hope that it was useful. Before you go, can you just give me feedback? Because I've been doing this and I do this for free. Is it useful? Did you actually find this helpful? Please put it in the chat. I'm not offended. You don't know me. I don't know you. I just want to help. Did you? Oh, thank you, Hilda. Okay. If there's anything I can ever do to help you, please just ask because you don't get if you don't ask. Yeah, whether you join the program or not, if I can help you, just ask. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. You just gave me fuel to keep doing this. If I've helped you, go apply for that job. Do not wait. And I will say this, men don't typically have this problem, but I'm saying this to the women in the group. If you meet 60% of the requirements of the job, please go ahead and apply. You don't have to meet 100%. So start applying if you meet 60% of the requirements of that job. When we are writing job descriptions, we are really putting unicorns, and we know that. When I'm writing a job description, I know I'm not going to get everything on the list, but I would be happy with 60%. So apply, apply, apply. Okay, thank you so much for your time. Take care, everyone. I look forward to staying in touch. Okay, bye.